Talking Music presents Glam, Bowie, Bolan and the Glitter Rock Revolution by Barney Hoskyns, read by Joanna Hall. Forward by Todd Haynes, New York, 1998. The slice of mascara, the lame flash, the glistening bolt of cosmetic lightning, Bowie's face on the cover of Aladdin Sane. And suddenly, in a suburban record store somewhere in LA, I am aware of a dark chill running through my 12-year-old body, some dangerous affirmation daring me somewhere I am not ready to go. Growing up in the States, I basically missed glam rock. Mainstream America was far too hooked on 60s rock for its glam following to be much more than an underground affair. But as the decade ensued, it would become apparent, even to those of us tucked away in the suburbs, that something was lurking in the shadows of popular music, something strange and intoxicating that seemed to defy classification. Suddenly there were whole new words being exhaled from the cherry-red lips of the smoker girls at school, a strange dialogue freshly brimming with Iggies, Ziggies, Bowies and Buys. That face on the cover of Aladdin Sane disturbed and fascinated me and cast an eerie pall over the certitude of my looming sexual identity. I didn't buy the record. It wasn't really until I was in college that I would learn how much of the music I'd come to love, Bowie, Roxy, Iggy, Reed, had all been part of this brief chapter in pop history, centred in London, the result of a unique blending of underground American rock with a distinctly English brand of camp theatricality and gender bending. And for a brief time, pop culture would proclaim that identities and sexualities were not stable things, but quivery and costumed, and rock and roll would paint its face and turn the mirror around, inverting in the process everything in sight. Musically, lyrically, and in its revolution of images, glam rock was nothing short of a camp attack on rock and roll. When Mark Bolan wore glitter under his eyes on Top of the Pops, when Bowie went down on Mick Ronson's guitar, when the androgynous became the bisexual, it was clearly aimed at the intense morality of 60s youth culture and the homophobia and misogyny it concealed, and no longer at the older generation. Quite the contrary, glam rock was obsessed with the past and made it its mission to weave its references into a world that combined nostalgia with futurism, torch balladry with hard rock, ironic melancholy with shock value. The very inverse of punk, the shock of glitter was the shock of the feminine. From Bowie's skeletal swish to Iggy's hardcore masochism, glam rock imposed a fierce, unnatural femininity on the masculine traditions of rock. Sure, it was a pose, but in the rare tradition of Oscar Wilde, artists like Bryan Ferry and Bowie were able to elevate artifice and irony in their work without sacrificing emotion in their music. Above all, in its parade of self-styled androgyns and alter egos, and in its declaration of changes as the defining aspect of teen experience, the glam era presented to the world a new and radically fluid model for sexual identity, no longer defined by its permanence, but the multicoloured result of constant change and reinvention. It couldn't last. The 1980s were on their way, and with them an overall retreat from the kinds of socio-political inversions that made glam rock possible in the first place. With few exceptions, glam would ultimately fall through the cracks of pop cultural memory, dispersed and absorbed by gay disco and straight heavy metal, and punctuated by Bowie and Lou Reed's apparent disavowals of their homosexual pasts. Glam rock would become inconsequential to a world of restored binaries and boundaries, a world of men and women, straights and gays, and nothing of real interest in between. I guess it's not surprising that during my several years of research for what would become Velvet Goldmine, I could find no book, in or out of print, on the glitter era. Books on individual artists acknowledged the period at length, but there was nothing to single it out as a comprehensive cultural phenomenon, including and defining a broad network of